which that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I know
Yes.
people care about this story, and I want to just go over a few things in that.
We
Like,
might have to have a part 2 here
okay.
in this. Just
like
because
people are like, how long were you together before you were engaged? How long did you date? We didn't date. So like, what does that even look like? We just spent time together. We did normal life things together. And because I wasn't really leaving the house, because of grief and stuff, what?
which is you didn't leave the house, and now the tables are turned. Well, I don't really leave the house.
That's true.
Just thought like,
Okay, but like our first time you picked me up and took me somewhere was to the horses.
yes,
So,
and Be Love. We stopped by there after.
Yeah. And then that's also where
I asked you,
you,
my girlfriend.
Yep. And
then again, I asked you to marry me.
And then
Ended with marriage.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to have a home birth there.
Yeah.
So
It's going to come full circle of life.
Just kidding. No. Okay. So that time frame is like June. You told me your intentions in July. You were like, I want.
Yeah. When I asked you July 20th.
Yeah.
To be my girlfriend.
Yeah. And then you said with intentions for you to be my bride.
Yes.
And then we got engaged.
Yeah. November.
And then, and then we got married in January.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a short time frame, which
ish,
but, and that's, I think could be another, and I talked about the groomers earlier where like people say, oh, you got to wait this long. You got to wait this. And then there's others that say, if you're dating past a year, like you're just playing house at that point.
I fully agree.
So, and I had heard that, but
Yeah.
then I also heard like, don't just rush into things.
Yeah.
But I think when you know,
For sure.
like there's no way around it.
Yeah.
And the connection that we built and everything else, like, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like I had met all your people already.
Yeah.
And that weekend, July 20th, was my family reunion in Tahoe.
Yep.
So then you got to meet most of my people as well. But I knew, like, it just the feeling of like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
This is for sure it.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked you. And then going through that, of us spending, again, we didn't date.
Yeah.
Traditionally going out, doing all the things that people would think.
Mm-hmm.
We really still spend a lot of time together here, having conversations, cooking good food, laughing, enjoying life.
Yeah.
To where I was like, okay, this next step is, and even asking and telling your friends that I was going to do it and stuff, and nobody batted an eye. Like everybody's like, okay, like,
yeah.
So like I knew even with that, like that's just confirmation as well.
Yeah.
That we're good. So it was like, there's no point in waiting.
Yeah.
Why are we going to continue to play house?
Yeah.
Even though we didn't have sex or anything
and
else.
We didn't sleep at each other's houses.
No.
We didn't do any of that.
I went home every night to my place.
Yeah.
And the times that you would come over, like you would come here,
yeah,
come back here. So it's like, we didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
And I think from my past, I've never had a relationship like that.
Right.
So this for sure built a strong foundation that I've never had. Which I think has led to who we are and our relationship even further.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that knowing what my past is like,
mm-hmm.
our relationship would not be like that.
No.
Had we not had that.
No.
So.
Yeah, everything about it has been different. And yeah.
Going back to me not leaving the house now, we still don't even date. Like we don't go out on dates.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we cook good food. So why do we need to go out to eat?
There's not a lot of good organic options for us. But when we travel, we do.
Yeah, that's our number one priority is food.
Organic, good food.
Even though we've gone on some trips and we've done some things.
Yeah. It's been different.
Yeah.
Between grief, because we've had
our butterfly.
Oh. So we've had the grief thing.
Yeah.
And then, which for me, like just not wanting to be out and about. And I remember that week, you're like, do you want to go Lake Solano? Do you want to go here? Do you want to pick you up? Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And like the first thing I was like ready to do was like go to the horses.
Yeah.
And that was it. So, and even church was super hard for me and still is.
Yeah.
Still a really difficult thing for me to do. And I couldn't do all the things without you. And I feel like I say this all the time. Like I genuinely do not believe that I would be as well as I am without all the things and without you and without what we have and what God has done in us and through us. And like we talked about our dating, we spent more time together than people that dated 3 years because we were together every single day.
Yeah. There's
with no distractions.
no,
Like God provided and allowed you the time with the work that you had. And obviously with what I had going on to where we could like, and then we had that Monterey trip, which we stayed in separate rooms, by the way, just to be really clear. And so it's like, I feel like God just gave us these opportunities to have time, even though it wasn't dating, it was in the backyard, it was on walks,
Right.
it was at the horses, it was at B-Love, it was at our friends' houses.
yeah,
And I just think that that was so special, but really like deeply intimate
for sure.
in a safe way.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like months and months, years and years, really.
Well, yeah, because what we talked about it, like on the average,
Yeah.
people see each other 2-3 times a week
Right.
when they're dating.
Yeah.
And we were together every single day outside of the week that I went to my men's legacy program
Right.
and the trip that you took
Yeah.
for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So it's like, we haven't had a day apart outside of those
No,
two things.
exactly.
So,
There isn't one day we didn't talk
right.
since we started talking.
Yep.
Yeah. Like ever. So, and I think that that's been contributed to our trust.
Yeah.
And to our connection and to the like timeline of our relationship.
Oh, yeah. And as others that have prayed over us and everything,
Yeah.
that bullet train analogy
Yeah.
has definitely come to life for us and
Yeah.
has accelerated us
Yeah. It has.
in our relationship individually as
Yeah,
well, and
for
then
sure.
collectively together
Yeah.
in our relationship and where we want to go. And
Yeah.
we have the same goals and dreams in life of wanting to build this legacy.
Yeah.
So we've been put on this train, and anybody that may have not ever been on a bullet train, I've been very fortunate enough to have been when I was stationed in Korea. So when this analogy was given to me, it sat clearly with me because yeah, on a bullet train, you're going hundreds of miles per hour and everything on the outside is just blurring by you.
Right.
But there's still this safety and security while you're inside where you're like, man, I'm not even moving.
Right.
Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like our relationship has been that because
Yeah.
there's been so much outside noise. There's been so many different things,
Yeah.
but we've chosen in our ecosystem and in our relationship to be still, to be safe, to be grounded,
Yeah.
to be connected.
For sure.
So it's like that bullet train hit for me for that reason, because it's like, yeah, everything is going by us.
Yeah.
Life is going by us
Yeah.
and our life is accelerating,
Yeah.
but it's still not chaotic like everything on the outside makes it look like.
Yeah.
We're still good. We're connected. We're calm. We're peace.
Yeah.
Like it, and that doesn't happen without the grace of God.
No, and also we put in a ton of work and we're super intentional.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we also put in the work to serve each other, to see each other, to, right, like keep each other feeling that safety and that security. We appreciate each other. We make sure that we're our number one priority under Jesus, you know, and it's the little things. We have coffee together, we have devotions together, whatever teamwork things that need to happen with the house or life. And
Well, even if teamwork things don't happen,
yeah.
case in point for yesterday, like,
Yeah.
I guess in a way it is teamwork because we came back from our small trip
Yeah.
and we had a car full of stuff, and going back to how she was feeling,
Yeah.
I knew after your massage and being with your friends, you didn't want to come home to do things.
Yeah.
So being on the team and recognizing that,
Yeah.
I was like, no, like I can take care of all this. Like, why am I going to leave this for both of us to take care of later?
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of things together to help each other out, and we like to get things done quicker.
Yeah.
So we spend more time together
Yeah.
in that
Exactly.
aspect.
Yeah.
Without any kind of distraction. But for yesterday, I was like, no, I want you to be able to come home because you were making dinner last night.
Yeah.
I wanted you to come home and be like, cool, all I have to do is make dinner and then we go to the volleyball game.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it.
Yeah.
As opposed to coming home and be like, oh crap, now we got to do this too. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't feel good.
Mm-mm.
So
I will have cried more
Yeah.
because I cried all day.
Knowing who you are and knowing what you've been through, because I see you,
Yeah.
leads to that. And vice versa, I know you would do the same thing because we have put in that work to intentionally know who we are as individuals and who we are collectively to make and build the relationship just stronger for those little things.
It is those little things.
Yeah.
And it's all the things. But I think too, considering both of our, like, we have a past, both being married before, obviously being parents, and then we have life. I feel like too, that's a whole nother conversation we can have for people that have been married before that are like, oh my gosh, how are you supposed to know? How do you miss the flags? What are the green ones? What are the red ones? How did you do this? How did you do that? And I think that that will be super valuable to people because we really were able to walk that out, and we're still walking it out, because as much as I believe in healing, like, I did so much work before us and before Noah, which I believe is God. And even my therapist 3 months before this happened was like, you're literally wasting your money here. And I'm like, but I just like you. And I like to update you on the tea of my life. And I'm your funniest client. And so like, anyways, but, and she's like, you don't need to be here, but something in my depths of my spirit, which obviously it had to do with, I didn't know I was going to face the worst thing and the best thing of my life all at once. So I just was like, I just feel like I need to still be here. I know it doesn't make sense, but I'm here, and I'm grateful for that. But I also know that I could only experience the depth of healing with God, a therapist, myself, my friends, to a point. And the deeper healing came in relationship with you.
Yeah.
It's like we can only do so much work on our own, but there's things that have to be healed together.
Yes.
And they don't come up until you're together either. Whether it's good where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much growth in this area. Same for you. I don't even feel a way about this.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Absolutely.
Right. And so there's like those good ones, but then there's things come up and I'm like, gosh, this has nothing to do with you, but this is feeling this for me because of what I've been through.
Right. But even then, it's still the share well.
Yeah. And then there's still healing in it. And there's all the mismatched experiences, like that help. And that every time it happens healthy, it's creating more safety and more trust. And so I know there's a lot of people that are just like, oh, I just don't think I could do it again, and I'm just like, you're missing out, because truly this is like the best thing ever. And it just makes my life everything better than I ever could imagine, even despite tragedy, even despite loss. Like, and I've told you this, like the hell that I've been through, I would do it again to be here with you.
Same with my past and my life that I put myself in the hell, I would say, with what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
So I've been in those pits, but that led me to who I am and the man that I am.
Yeah.
And I would take that all over again to have the relationship that we have and the love that we have.
Yeah. It's amazing. So those are things that we want to talk about. I'm going to just ask 2 of the questions from the gram. One is just short and easy.
Okay.
Ready?
Don't have much time.
Okay. We're running out of time. It just might cut us off. Ready? What do we have our contacts as in the phone?
Mine is my bride.
Mine is love of my life.
With a heart and then the heart hand emoji, because we used to send that to each other all the time.
That was a good one. Lots of questions on where did you meet? We're going to answer all that here. So ta-da. And then we get asked all the time, how did we not have sex before marriage, baby?
By the grace of God.
The supernatural authority of Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Because don't get me wrong, it's not easy.
It was not. Especially with old dude. And I'm a wild one, so let's just say that.
Not boring.
Okay.
But definitely by the grace of God, because yes, there was a little spice in our life.
Yeah, we got a lot
without having sex.
It's true.
So it wasn't easy.
No.
For sure. And we definitely needed the grace of God for those times.
So we didn't stay the night at each other's houses.
True.
So there was things that we did to try to help that. And we had boundaries. A lot of boundaries, and we had a lot of conversations around it.
Yes. We did talk about it a lot, for sure.
That, there was things, we weren't just living on the grace of God. We also had some
Yeah, we had our own boundaries, we had our own convictions.
Yeah.
So
And I think too, that why was so strong for us.
true.
I was like, and we'll just be really real. I'm like, do we want to have the best sex life or not?
And we do. I don't know if it's okay to say that. You'd be wild, so yeah, we can't say that.
No, no. And so like I was like, we want the blessing of God on our lives, like so.
Yeah.
So like we're like, we need to keep this why. And for the relationship, the trust and the vulnerability and everything we had, we never had to question, oh, is this because we have a soul tie? Is this because it's good sex? Is this because, oh, there's just this here? And so like we had nothing was blurring anything. Everything was so clear because we didn't have that. And I know for me in grief and in trauma and all the things, I was like, I don't have margin for that. Like I already don't feel my full self at times. And so I can't have something make that even worse. Though let me tell you, did I want to every day? So
yeah.
But we had boundaries and we had a strong why.
Yes.
And we were together in it and we're like, we can do this and this is worth it. And this is why it's worth it. And
yeah, because even in those times where it got harder than other times, we would no. Like we stopped it. We had to, we knew.
For sure. Okay, this might be a long one, but let's just say brief and amazing. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years?
Oh man. Wherever God takes us, that's obvious. And wherever he calls us to be. But obviously we're in the process of wanting to start this nonprofit.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And building that legacy that we talk about.
Yeah.
And just getting closer every single day to that in those 5 years. And hopefully, we've built it enough to where it's bigger than us, bigger than Vacaville. It's bigger and already kind of has established itself outside of our ecosystem. Yeah. So super grateful for that. Yeah. So hopefully in 5 years, it's bigger than California. Let's say that. Let's just dream bigger than California. And doing things to give back in those aspects for myself, for veterans and kids. Yeah. And I'm glad that I don't know. I mean, can I say glad? Like through this tragedy has led to what I enjoy. Yeah. And working with kids. Yeah. And being around kids. So it's like, it's been twofold for me where we get to do that together. For sure. And it's a huge mission field and it's a huge, I think, unmet need and such a prime just opportunity with this generation that needs Jesus and needs mentors and fathers and all the things. Right. And I think we're out of time on here. Okay. You were saying, it's a big mission field. Yeah, it's a huge mission field. It's a huge opportunity. And at the end of the day, we want to make an impact on kids' lives and on this generation and on this community, on this city and beyond for the glory of God and for Noah's legacy and on and on and on. So, right. Yeah, so that would be a big part of what we hope to see. Okay, so we're in wrapping this up. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years? We were just saying about all the things with the nonprofit. What else? A baby, for sure. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is really getting that nonprofit up and running. Yeah. Serving that community. Yeah. And then through that, being able to give more to other nonprofits that we want to help and support in the area and the local community as well. Yeah. That's obviously we both have a heart to want to serve and give. So I think that's where we're at. And we haven't really, outside of that, we haven't sat and talked about goals to that extreme. We talked about our family values. We put that down, but we never really talked about like goals and what we want. I mean, outside of those things, and that we obviously want to have land and grow the businesses that we have, and obviously freedom is a huge goal. Which, it's on the hat. Yeah. So having time freedom, to be clear. Yes. And freedom to. We want more time to do the things that we love to do. Yeah. Just like the other week when we're like, hey, let's go to Phoenix. Yeah. And we escaped from here to get some sunshine. Yeah. And watch some baseball. Yeah. Like stuff like that is huge. It is. So to being able to buy back that time. Yeah. To where we can take our kids
Mhm.
or just ourselves
Mhm.
and be like, all right,
Yeah.
we're going to go.
For sure.
And obviously living in that abundance to where we have that opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be able, I think it's like at the end of the day, most important thing for us is people and time.
Yeah.
Right. And like we want to be able to be with the people we love and help whatever they're doing, you know, whether that's foster or nonprofits or, you know, like how can we also support those things and to make an impact in everything that we're doing, whether that is through church or business or nonprofit or our own family. And I also truly believe, and I don't know what that all looks like, but my story, your story, our lives being an impact. And I don't know what that looks like or how, but I'm like, ain't none of this going to be wasted. Nothing is wasted in Jesus.
No.
I don't have a blueprint for how it's not wasted, but I do believe God is going to use our marriage and our family and our journey and our story and our losses to help other people.
Yeah.
And that will be a part of that, whatever that looks like.
Well, yeah. And another whole thing with that too is how outspoken you are, you know, about the medical field and all those things too.
Yeah.
And obviously nutrition and everything goes to what I'm walking through now.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I say this and I firmly believe it that it sucks to have to walk through this. And for me, not leaving the house is a huge mental battle for me. I'm not a house person. I'm a people person. So to not have that, but God is walking me through this.
Yeah.
To where you have support and backing.
Yeah.
For who you are. For me, it's like I had to have this, even though I've been through stupid stuff in the military. And we are the guinea pigs for a lot of the things that happen.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely me walking through it.
Yeah.
To where I can be like, it's X, Y, and Z that's causing this.
Right.
Because I haven't had anything or done anything with my body since leaving the military.
Right.
So it's like, and as we spoke before with the relationship, the safety and the security, even for me as a man, having somebody so strong and present for me to where I can just be as well led to the detox and all the things in my body to just be like, here's everything. Like,
because it's twofold. Don't you think that it's like, on one hand, I do believe God is using what is sucky and uncomfortable, right? Like it's been really challenging for us.
Yeah.
Like, and so for those of you that might not know, maybe you don't have social media. So Mike has been having a whole skin thing, staph infection, like crazy, interrupt your life type of stuff. It's been wild.
3-4 weeks that I couldn't wear a t-shirt at all.
Couldn't wear a shirt. You have to wrap your leg when we go to church. There was times like you're in excruciating pain. And one thing I just want to honor and acknowledge about you is that even in that, you have never been a baby. You've never been a bad word and
a Richard.
And like we've still laughed through it. And gosh, no, there's been some low moments too, for sure.
Yeah.
It's been really difficult. And obviously this is not what you have in mind for newlywed bliss. Like we have separate.
Come on, our whole relationship has been from the day one to now.
The crap.
Like that's why we say our relationship is not the norm.
No, it'd be one fire after another.
Yeah.
But it's refining and sanctifying. So bless.
It is. And to that, we sleep with 2 different blankets.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I have to wrap my leg every night. We do all these things and
And then on the other side, to me, I feel like there's the God working in it. And then we've like prayed for your body to be healed because we want you to be detox and well. And we've been on that journey. And then there's been an accidental detox journey. And then when you accidentally give your husband detox pills, we're like, we don't know. What's
gosh.
My bad. Sorry, baby. Love you. Thanks for trusting me.
Yeah.
So there's been like the good, which we believe it's releasing trauma, it's releasing
Right.
heavy metals. And so it's a process that's sucky and horrible. It's like just like with God, this refining and this pruning where it's like, I don't like this. This looks like things are not alive.
Right.
This looks bad. But then it's like, no good is coming from this. And so I think it's on a spiritual level. But then for me, as someone that is a health guru and I can fix all the health things and I can
PhD in dermatology now.
Yeah, with all of that. And I'm like, this is the one time in my 16 years of this field that I can't just fix it or have an answer. And so it's felt challenging for me because I'm like, I'm failing my husband. Like, this is ridiculous. I've been able to do all the things for all these people,
Right.
you know, and then it brings me to thoughts about like Bill Johnson and his wife and like all these people are being healed of cancer, but not my wife. And so just which she's been such a tremendous blessing to me with things with grief, which is unfortunate, but it's just the reality.
Yeah.
But in that, it's like, it's twofold. There's this God is growing and God is doing things and your body is being healed and you are releasing toxins and trauma, which is what we need to do. But then there's the side of it that's like, it has been difficult for our life to not be able to go certain places or not do certain things or, you know, whatever that is. But then again, it's like people said in the beginning of our relationship, if y'all can get through you losing your son well, and y'all can be close through this and then through this, we have gotten closer through it all.
Because we are intentional again about who we are and we strive for connection, not disconnection.
Yeah, it's true. And we do put in that time and attention and effort and energy and stay vulnerable and transparent.
And even though I continue to look at this because it's got our time on there, we put this away.
We do.
For us to be able to enjoy us and our time.
Yeah, which I'm happy about.
Yes.
And I love. And I'll never forget when we used to have our little chats on the patio deck over there and you wouldn't have your phone.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the biggest things for me. And I would be like, I'm so glad that you don't have your phone.
It's the intentionality.
Yeah.
I knew our world is bigger than what's in here.
Yeah.
And obviously it's they're great as a tool.
Yeah.
But at the same time can be very tragic.
Yeah.
In a relationship and anything. So
for sure.
Where we were in that time.
Yeah.
We didn't need that.
No.
And we still don't.
No.
Especially for us.
Yeah.
Like outside of us and the tool that we use it for, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But there comes a time, and I had to do this in my past business as well. It's like, for me, I'm in the industries that I've gotten into because I don't like the 9 to 5. I don't want to be tied to anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, even though I may have to work certain hours later, it gives me time freedom, like today, where we are able to just go and do things or go up to Placerville and do things. Like, I buy back that time. And when I'm with you, or even with our family and our friends, this doesn't mean anything. Like, nothing's going to change what's in front of me and what in that moment is going on. So even from back in when we first started talking, it's one of those things where so I put my effort into that and was intentional with that. And still to this day, I'm intentional about putting it down when we go have dinner. We don't have our phones at the table. So just having that intentionality has definitely brought us closer. And the connection has always been there. It's
all those little things. We don't bring our phone in the bedroom.
Yeah.
We don't bring our phone when we eat.
Even though sometimes I stress out with wanting to wake up in the morning, but yes.
Yes. That's true. But those are the little things that we do.
Yeah.
And it's important and it matters.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to do one more question and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Because I think it's a pretty easy one. It was, what was your favorite memory from the wedding?
For me, I like obviously felt the presence of God.
Yeah.
Definitely felt the presence of God and the peace that was there.
Yeah.
And even though it was cloudy and overcast that day, it was still such a beautiful day.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like chemtraily.
No, just
like weird sky. It was this like Pride and Prejudice moody vibes, which I just made you watch that movie like weeks before, maybe.
Yeah. It really was. So even in the midst of all that, and in the midst of obviously the tragedy and no one not being there, there was still so much peace and beauty in that day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pick one thing out from that day. There's so many different things that I love about that day. Obviously, you coming down the aisle, and it's just seeing the amazing person that you are, and like the light that you bring on a daily, and knowing that day, from that day on, I was like, she's mine. It's my bride. Like,
Yeah.
That's one. And then obviously our vows where we just get to laugh. Like,
Yeah.
it's just who we are.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's back up, because every wedding I've been to, everything that I've ever seen, you don't kiss until obviously the pastor, the officiant, everybody tells you can kiss your bride, right?
Yeah.
That's typical.
Yeah.
But not for us, because we are not typical. Our relationship has not been typical.
It's not.
So
Yeah.
your dad's handing you over to me, and we kiss, and we're like, oh,
Like, oh shoot.
oh, I don't think we're supposed to do that. But that's just who we are.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yeah.
that in the midst of no matter what it is and what's going on,
Yeah.
we are true to who we are.
Yeah.
So to see that even in that moment, like,
Yeah.
that was another great thing.
Yeah.
And then that ray of sunshine on your face,
Yeah.
because we both know,
Mhm.
like, we pray to have just a sign,
Mhm.
and that definitely was a sign from Noah.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
in his presence. So I like seeing that, and obviously we're in the middle of it, so I can't say anything to you, but I'm like, this is it. Like, and then we talked about it afterwards, where you're like, yes. Like, so
Yeah, that was amazing.
yeah, there's just that. And then going inside with all our friends, and how we fit everybody into this, like, we did it.
Yeah, that was
we really
crazy.
did. And even though people may have been crammed and on top
Yeah.
of each other, there
Yeah.
was still so much love
Mm-hmm.
and enjoyment, fulfillment, good food. Like,
Was. Yeah.
I can't pinpoint one thing and say that's my favorite memory, because there's so much from that day, the whole day,
Yeah.
even from the very beginning when we're there setting up, and like, who our officiant is.
Yeah.
You see him as out farmer,
Yeah.
farmer Lauren,
Yep.
moving things on the cart,
Yeah.
and then he's helping behind the scenes, trying to cook and get things together as well. And then he comes to be the officiant,
Yeah.
to where our videographer, I'm sitting there talking to Lauren, and Tom's like, oh, and introduced himself. He's like, we just talked outside. He's like, oh my, like, he switched roles.
Yeah.
Like, we just had a good group of people. Like, I can't say anything more. Like, I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
For everybody that I was able to make it, everybody that helped and was a part of it and did all the things. Like,
Yeah.
it just made that day. And even with how small it was, how just intimate, there's just there is no one thing. That whole day was just,
it's all
beautiful, amazing. Like,
from start to
God
finish.
filled. There's
I would agree with all that. I couldn't, because I'm like, there isn't something I could say. I would say something I really enjoyed on top of all that is the simplicity.
Yeah.
Like, there was just something so sacred about the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
That it wasn't this grand circus, like, and that might be for some people, it wasn't for us. And just the presence of God, the little glimmers, right? The peace, the fun, the simplicity, right? And truly, like, it really was a dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, what was, like, man, this far minimal, sustainable, simple thing, to just see it all come to pass, I think was, like, amazing. But then ultimately, like, what it's about, like, because so many people invest all this time and money into a wedding and not into a marriage. And I think also for me, just the confidence that I felt in this union.
Yeah.
And that we were starting our lives. And it wasn't really about a wedding.
No.
But it was about a union and a covenant.
And we made that very clear with all the words spoken.
Yeah.
But that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I think going back to obviously intentionality, that's in our vows.
Yeah.
It shows there too.
Yeah.
With what we wrote and who we are.
Yeah.
And staying true. I do love that Sky was like, because her being a writer.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I gotta go into this, and I got her writing vows. Like, what am I gonna do? But obviously, like, we've said the grace of God's going to give you the
Yeah.
words. He's going to give you,
Yeah.
and even in our relationship, like he gave me the words
Yeah.
to write.
Which they were amazing. That would be my other favorite part is not only did we write our vows and they just were like exceptional, but that we didn't read them off phones and we didn't have our phones at the wedding. So that was another thing too that I thought was really like sacred and special is that we both had a paper for our vows and both of us gave our phones to other people for the day.
And even speaking on that, like we go back even to this day, we leave notes for each other and little things.
Yeah.
But that day we both wrote notes to each other, not knowing that both of us were going to do that. But we both had that intention to continuously show that love.
Yeah.
Even going into that day, knowing that, we do love each other.
Yeah.
But we still did that. And for me as well, like seeing obviously the reciprocal letters coming back and forth, like that's just who we are.
Yeah.
And I love that we both do that for each other.
Yeah.
And I love that I get to call you my bride every day.
And we still do notes.
Yeah, that's we do. We'll have to sneak around the house. But
This is true.
I'm like, how do you do this?
Yeah. So it's not just a one day, one time. Like we're continually, how can we do better? What can we do better on all levels?
Right.
And I think that is rare.
It is.
And what we have is rare. And I don't think it's just like we talked about earlier, whether that's being celibate. It's like, it's not easy. And we're not saying this is easy either, or that our journey's been easy, because it hasn't been. There's been things that have been smooth and there's been the grace of God for sure.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of challenges and a lot of hard things and a lot of things that have come against us because our union is powerful.
Right.
And I do believe that healthy, whole marriages and families are the catalyst to change in our culture.
Yeah.
So
and we have to be that change.
Yeah.
And we have to be, that's why I'm glad that we've come together in this union and this covenant, so where despite even like you said, when I'm going through this, that obviously there's been days where I'm like, I can't do anything, like, but outside of that, we both, and even for yourself, there's days that you have, but then there's days that we're both like, let's go, let's hit this ground running, and let's get after it, because we both have our goals that we want to meet together and individually as well.
Yeah.
So we do the work and we're intentional about that work.
Yeah.
So
for sure, which can seem, if you were to say, is this what you saw for your life a year ago?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't know I'd be the raw milkman coming into this.
It's so true.
And then serving raw milk at the wedding.
Oh yeah, that was a good moment too, which was just like prophecy fulfilled and all the things.
But then also evangelizing it to where we're getting other people drinking raw milk that don't.
Yeah, there was so many special things, and there continues to be, and that's where it's like it wasn't just that day. Like truly, even the most basic of days where we're just here, and it's like the chores and the emails and the dinner, but it's like we make everything fun. So actually, nothing feels boring, and all the things.
Not boring at all.
Yeah. So
that could be another podcast as well.
Another podcast. So, that's the thing I love too, is like we make things fun.
Yeah.
And even in hard things, we still make jokes, even when it shouldn't
like
be.
You said,
and when it's supposed to be serious, but I think it helps. But then we're serious when we need to be serious. We're focused when we need to be focused, but that's, I think the other part of it is like, it isn't just this, oh, I wish I could just get those wedding day feelings back. I wish I could get those dating feelings back. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like every day I'm more in love with you, and I love our life, and I love what God isn't just what he's done, but what he's doing. Right. And I think that's like the beautiful thing is I think, gosh, if this is what we've been able to do through trauma and tragedy and your body detox and us dealing
brain functions.
Yeah. Like if this is who we are in the midst of all of this, through suffering, through sorrow, through trials.
And not at 100.
And exactly, like not sleeping at 100, not feeling at 100, like for whatever the reasons are. And not that there isn't going to be more challenges ahead, because there is, we're not foolish to that. But it's like, No, we're about to do some things. We're about to make some stuff happen, and we're going to make an impact.
I know we would continue to say we're going to wrap it up, but who we are, we don't do that well.
This is part 3. We are now entering part 3 of the podcast.
I think another thing that helps us with all that is we don't live in a prosperity gospel mindset.
No.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we've lived everything else outside of the prosperity gospel. Like, yes, we've had things that have been great in life, you know, but we've gone through tragedies. We've gone through different things where it's like, that prosperity gospel is 100% correct. Yeah. But so is tragedy.
Yeah. Like, so is suffering.
Yeah. So we live in that and we know that. So it's like, I don't care what this suffering looks like. Yeah. Because we still have a mission to fulfill. We still have life to fulfill. Yeah. So we know that the prosperity gospel is there for us in the midst of all this suffering. Yeah. Because we will prosper. We are going to succeed. We are going to do the things that we want to do in life. Yeah. And God has not only got us, but we have each other. Yeah. To where we are going to do the things that we say we're going to do. Yeah. We have things that we both have spoken about, and we need to get that down on paper. Yeah. But I know they're going to be fulfilled. Yeah. And we're not waiting for everything to be perfect for them to happen. No. We're doing them now. Like we just did this huge event with very little planning. Yeah, little planning, little resources, not a lot of time. And it's like, and then the whole cease and desist on top of it. Yeah. And so we still went through with it, and it was amazing and anointed and successful and awesome. But it's like, even in that, like we didn't wait to get married. We didn't wait to do the event. We're not waiting to do the nonprofit. We're not going to be waiting for all these things until this happens, no, like we are doing it despite trials and despite sorrow and despite suffering. And it's like, it's both, because there are days, it's like, I was just telling a friend this morning that, so Friday was Noah's birthday. I sent her the most ugly crying text possible where I'm like, crying like that. And then I saw her the next day and I was dancing at the event, and I was like, am I unstable? Like I literally was just sobbing, like, and I don't know if I could go on. And then I'm dancing with you and my sister and the baby. But it's like, but is this weeping and mourning and then also dancing and celebration? Is it all the things? Yeah, that's duality and that's life, because both of those are real and they're both happening. But we're not just sitting around like, okay, when your skin gets better, we're going to do this thing. Okay, when I'm not in grief so much, we're going to do this thing. Though we've had to wait because of my skin, because I couldn't wear a shirt for so long, like everything else. True. So we did wait in that aspect, but it wasn't on us saying, hey, we have to wait. Yeah. There was just no way I was leaving. I left the house because I came here, but then went right back to my house. For sure. And that was different. But even just in like, you're even not ever going to be 100%. And there isn't going to be seasons where there isn't something happening. It's just life is going to keep happening. And that's real. Right. And there's going to be challenges. There's going to be losses, but there's also going to be joys and there's going to be wins. For sure. And we're experiencing all of them. Like at a very deep level, and it's accelerated level. Yeah. And it can be crazy, but at the same time, it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I think it's a testimony to the power of God and the power of covenant. With one thing, I want to wrap it up for sure after this. So let's talk about little planning, obviously going into this event. Mm-hmm. And then planning. There was time. Little planning. Yes. Very little. But you mentioned the anointing on it. Yeah. Talk to me about, or let them know about the voice text that you got from one of the gentlemen that showed up. Oh. Or I wouldn't, and what he obviously we're not going to give details and everything, but like, this is the anointing that the event brought in the little time that we had. Yeah. Through the power of being in a church parking lot, the power of connection and network that we have in the ecosystem that we live in. Yeah. Because without that ecosystem, without that connection and the network that you have, the church that came down from Stockton area, they're like a Bethel team that's at Stockton. Okay. Yeah. So coming from there, and obviously they have a gifting. Sure. And they saw this gifting in this individual. Yeah. So can you speak to that before we wrap? Like, this is the anointing that happened even in the midst of a little bit of planning, little bit of everything else. But we have that connection, when you have that network, when you have that ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to reach further than what you think you can,
Yeah.
this is what brings
Yeah.
the anointing.
And when the majority of kids are saying this is the best bike event I've been to, this is the funnest, this is safest. Some people are saying, wow, you guys didn't, there's no alcohol here, there's no smoking here, and like everyone's having a great time.
Yeah.
You know, and like just the joy and the positivity that was everywhere and that feedback that we were getting. When is it happening again? People that were sad to miss it. But then with this guy, he is a leader in the bike community in NorCal. He came out and you know, he's trying to do positive things in the bike life community like we are. And one of the prayer team people were there and saw him and ended up having a conversation with him and giving him a prophetic word and saying, like, I see this in you. They initially said, can I pray for you? And he said, no. He's like, I'm good. I don't know what I need prayer for. Right? Like, which is real. And then they're like, okay, well, I see that you're a light and I see that you're these things and you're a leader and none. Because he was saying how he's not going to compete because he wants to let the young kids have an opportunity,
Right.
Which we're going to fix that for next year because we'll have the OGs and that compete plus
break it all up.
Yeah, we'll do that. So, but then this person had a lighthouse that they had drawn, probably Holy Spirit led. Hey, bring this picture with you, right? Which that's why we listen to God. And they're like, hey, I want to give this to you. And like, it really touched him. And he shared his whole story of like, man, like people don't do stuff like this. And he said, one of my favorite things about what he said was, you know, I was at this event, it was lit, it was amazing. But you know what? They had church people out there.
Right.
And this is what happened to me when I was there. And it made my whole day. And, you know, and they saw me. And that was the other important thing that he said. They saw me.
Yep.
They saw me. And that's where it's like, well, that's God that saw you. But like for him, he was like, people don't do this. People hardly smile and say hello, let alone give you a hand painted lighthouse, you know, at a bike life event where it's known for maybe not always being that. It's positive, but that's not typical for bike life. And that's what he said. Like, I never been to no bike life event with church people. What is this? So, and for him to be like, this really made my day.
Well, yeah,
this really made my day.
Even outside of that, he gave kudos to everybody that came to volunteer to pick up trash.
Exactly. Yes.
Like I said, with a little bit of planning, a little bit of everything else, we still had a network and a connection of people that came out to do that. And I want to say thank you. Because of who you are, this ecosystem is being built. And your intentionality of always listening to God and making sure that God is involved in all the things that we do as well. What do you tell me all the time? We're not doing unless God, like, that's it. Like, we talk about that all the time. So with your intentionality and who you are and your connections and always putting God first like that, led to that moment to where this gentleman's touched in a way that he's never been spoken, seen, heard, nothing before. And even though he said no initially, there was still a word to be given to him. And it was to where it changed. It changed what he said, it changed him. And he does try to be positive, and he's like, I'm never going to stop. So your intentionality, the way you put God first, I truly appreciate that, because without that anointing and that would never have happened without God and that little bit of planning.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, and that's the whole thing with Forever Focused and this bike life event and all this and losing Noah and what all of this is like. Listen, God's going to get the glory in this regardless, even if there is resistance to this, even if people don't understand it, even if we get a cease and desist, even if this, like, this isn't about bikes. This isn't about this is about a generation in a city, in a community, in a culture that needs God and that needs truth and that needs life and fathers and mothers and positivity, as does everything in our world right now. Not just that, but it's like, I'm not going to just be out here doing this to do it. I don't got time for that.
So much so, what are you trying to do?
What?
What are you trying to learn?
I'm going to learn to pop it up. Going to learn to do a wheelie. So it's like anybody could go do some bike thing. There's things happening all over the place, but that is it. Like, we're not moving, we're not building, we're not doing anything outside of the grace and favor of God and submission and the whole process that needs to happen. Cause it's like, I'm going to go plan a whole bike event and face all this opposition for what?
Right.
No, like, it's got to make an impact. If it's not making an impact, I don't want any part of it.
And also, I'm glad that even through the conversation that you still were like, no, we're still doing this, because there was a time that it was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go through with this. I don't want to deal with all this.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that we did, and
Same.
we did it because of
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
And that whole, not even just that moment, like you said, the whole entire day.
Yeah. And it ended up being beautiful and blessed and amazing for the 99% most part. And there was impact was made on kids' lives and on adults' lives and
that's what we
on
wanted.
people there, and people saying, wow, even just experiencing it, they're not bike life people, like just to be there as observers, and just so grateful for so many friends and family that came that never been to a bike event. And I think that's what's amazing. Like, this is what this is about. This is hecka fun.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Look at what these kids can do on a bike. Like,
It's just about opening eyes,
yeah.
removing that veil.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just that part alone, seeing like, oh, dang, this is cool. This is fun. This is positive. Nothing happened. Everyone was having a great time. You got toddlers on bikes. You got 5-year-olds on bikes.
Popping it up.
Yeah, they're popping it up and doing what they could do. And listen, I can't be pop it up mom and not pop it up. Okay, I got to figure this out. Okay, I can't be a poser. Okay, got to be real.
Gotta get that bike first.
I got to get a bike and I got to figure this out. So, okay, well, with that, let's wrap it up.
Yes.
And also, I would not have gone through with it if you weren't riding with me. That's why, what did I tell you the day before that? What did I say? When I was like, listen, forget about how I feel. I need to know.
Oh, yeah. How do you feel about all this?
Yeah.
Like, I got you. Like,
Yeah.
what we talked about, like, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. So I'm just grateful too that, and I knew in my spirit, and that's just it. Like, yeah, there was concerns, but I'm like, no, God, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what's supposed to happen.
And from day one,
Yeah.
when I called you back,
Mm-hmm.
said, whatever you need,
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day,
Mm-hmm.
it stands true.
Exactly. And you've been consistent, and that is the definitely top thing in building our trust right here and over here in those chairs.
Yeah.
That I was like, let me see if you're really about it. Are you just saying it? Because anybody could say things, but like,
Sure.
do you actually? And you did. You consistently, faithfully, still, you've not relented from that whatsoever. Show up and do things in action.
Yeah.
And
I love you. And you deserve to be treated well.
And I don't have to tell you all the things. You just do them, which also made me feel safe and secure, because I'm like, oh, you just do it? Like, this is just normal life? The heck, where have I been? So, like, that's also the beautiful side of it, is it's not like I'm over here like, oh, I need this, and can you do this, and can you show up this way? And like, you just do. And you just make it happen. And also, even with the event, it's like, we're in Oakland at that Bike Life event, and you're like, we can do this. We can have this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just not in a place to do anything with life right now. I don't even know about life.
But you've met another dreamer, and that's what it is.
For sure. But then I was like, okay, I think you're right. We can do this, and genuinely, I wouldn't have done it without your help and without your support. And we literally were both doing 10 jobs at the event the whole time,
Still.
Yeah.
It was still an amazing event, no matter what.
Yeah, it was. And so, but with that, I'm like, you really pushed me and inspired me and made me feel confident enough that it mattered, and that it was going to have an impact, and that I could do it, because I am like, I don't know if we could pull this off, and what does this even look like? And how are we going to do this? And what does this look like? And you just were with me in it every single step of the way, as with everything.
Even though it came down to the 11th hour, like, it's still,
yeah.
And obviously, I had an early day Saturday to be at a work thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew
Mm-hmm.
we don't go to bed without each other,
Yeah.
first off.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't leave you there doing things.
Yeah.
And then I didn't feel right just doing that. Like, I'm just going to go to bed. Okay. Like, no, we'll do this together. We'll get it done together and get it done faster when we can get to bed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
yes.
But even in that, and then like, I don't know if it was before we went to
supposed
bed.
to wrap it up.
Hold on. Finish the story. Before we went to bed, or in the morning when I was like, are we doing this? Like, is this happening? Are we going for it? Usually, yeah, we're riding. Let's go. Like, this is happening. Like, because
It was a morning.
Was it? I was like, we're going to do this thing?
Yeah, because you were still kind of like on the fence with, the whole cease and desist.
Yeah. Well, and I just was like, I don't know what's going to happen. That was more so that like, it's happening, but like, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, like we're going to show up and we're going to figure it out when we get there. So, and thankfully it was amazing. And I would say it probably was better than I had hoped. You just never know with the first event. And then you don't know with rumors circulating and people saying it's this and you guys are going to shut down and, you know, just whatever. You just don't know what's going to happen. And also we didn't just ride, but people rode with us. And I think that was important too, that people were like came and supported and showed, look at, this is peaceful and beneficial and amazing.
And needed
And a positive thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How are we wrapping this up?
Yeah. So that is all. Okay.
That is not all. There's so much more.
No, that's not all. We got 9,000 more episodes in us.
Yeah.
So.
I swear we should tell each other we need to walk around with just mics on because we have in-depth conversations. Just
true.
Impromptu.
True. Literally every single day we'll be having coffee, dinner, sitting in bed, and we'll get on a topic and we're like, dang it. That was a really good episode.
It's just need to walk around with these.
Like, honestly, it's like so real, like the conversations. And that's just with that. Our conversations and our intimacy on every level is so deep and so powerful. And I think that was like accelerated too. Like we never have been surface or shallow or basic or on anything that we do, whether it's food, whether it's church, whether like whatever we do, we're so all in and passionate about it. And like, into it that I think it makes like such a difference because we're present.
Right.
And like are grateful. That's like another big thing too. Like we're both so grateful because we've experienced things that we weren't grateful for.
Yeah, for sure.
So it makes it so much
mic drop.
So thank you guys so much for listening. I don't know how many parts this will be. So however you're ending this series. Because it's about to be a whole series. We appreciate you guys for the love, for the support. So many people have like just been loving you since day one, but they want to know more. You know, they're like, we love you, but we want to know more, you know? So it's like, I think that it's amazing we're able to share like this and share in depth and give people hope.
Yes.
And give people a different perspective because I don't think there's a lot of that out there. And this is a very redemptive story. And it's still in process.
Very much so.
And I'm excited to see what comes of all of this. And I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else.
Same. I want to say thank you as well for the love and the support through all this without knowing who I am and knowing my full story.
Yeah.
Outside of like the very few that I met, some of the people that I've met, obviously living here in town that know me as well. I appreciate that love and support. Not only for myself, but for you through this time as well. The people that have shown up for you through all this.
For sure.
Your ecosystem is phenomenal.
They really are.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
And like one in a million, because it doesn't happen to where you can have outside of your small circle that you kind of hang out with. Like your ecosystem is bigger than that.
Yeah.
And people truly care. So thank you guys for that. Because not only has it helped you, but it's helped us in our relationship as well.
For sure.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I know there'll be more, and we'll look for that paper that has all the questions for you guys as well.
Yes, for sure. We need to do that.
Yes, we will see you guys again soon.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.